Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest Godzilla Podcast. Well, yesterday was the big event here in Austin for Godzilla fans. We had Gareth Edwards in town, and as mentioned during previous videos and all the announcements beforehand, he was there on hand to do a Q&A and also present the original Gojira film, the Japanese version, with the 40 extra plus minutes on there. So, I got this information from ain'titcool.com, and I'll post a link to the direct article here where the web article author Quint talks about the experience and essentially what happened. The big surprise was that not only did they screen the original Gojira film, but they also introduced a 7-minute or so sequence from the upcoming Godzilla film. So that was a pretty big surprise, considering I know that they've already been screening somewhere other places overseas, but here at South by Southwest I would have just thought it was just going to be the original Gojira film, but no, they were able to sneak in some of this info, and thus far, I'll take a look and see if anybody has it uploaded on YouTube yet. But the reason I posted a link to the article is because Quint does a pretty good job about talking about the sequence of events that occurred within the 7 minutes, and I'll explain that here. Damn, it's hard because here he was in town, and the event, of course, would only be done for those who had badges so close and yet so far away, as that saying goes. So, oh well, maybe next time. So, anyways, this is essentially what happened. It looks like it was a montage of footage, stuff that was already within the trailer, but stuff that was also new to audiences, at least based on what they were describing here. So, here's essentially how it started. It looks like the sun was setting. It looks like that was in the tropical island, the one that we saw with the little snippets, little footages there in the second trailer. And then the family apparently is on the beach there, and they start noticing something really strange happening. The waves that are hitting the beach suddenly go out, and they keep going out. So that should be a pretty cool sequence on there. Imagine seeing what you would normally see as far as waves going in and out on the beach, and all of a sudden they stop going in, they just start going back and back and back and back as the water continues to recede. So then it cuts to another footage, something again from the trailer, where Ken Watanabe's character is on that aircraft carrier, the one that looks like the night footage, and they see something going underneath the water itself. What's pretty cool about this sequence is the way Quint describes it is they see what looks to be first like a massive shark fin over the water surface, but then more of these shark fins start appearing. Of course, those are Godzilla's back dorsals, but they go back down as they pass under the carrier. And the way that Quint described this sequence is it's very, very Jaws-like, in that you don't see Godzilla, but you definitely sense his presence. Everybody there, of course, within the carrier sensed it, and all they know is that something big was traveling underneath their carrier. And then the sequence cuts to Aaron Taylor Johnson's character in that subway rail car, the one that we've seen within the teaser and the trailers, the one that gets attacked and torn open. This one, actually, it turns out it's not a subway rail car, but it's one of those rail cars that is within airports, the ones that take you from one terminal to another. So that's a little bit of new news on that part. I thought it was just a regular subway trail car underneath the ground, but no, this is one of the regular terminal rail cars within an airport. So, and the reason that this is important because this is also the same airport where that Muto begins attacking, and the one where Godzilla comes by later. So, according to the Quint, he said the sequence on here, the rail car, right before it was attacked, everything just went out, like in terms of power. And so Taylor Johnson's character, I guess there's a boy next to him, starts consoling him and telling him that the power will come back soon. Then the sequence goes back to the beach where the family had seen that water that was receding outward. Now, all of a sudden, the water starts coming back onto the beach, this time as a giant tidal wave, very large tidal wave, to the point where the father, grabs his family and starts running the hell back on there. This was the sequence apparently that we saw in the trailer, where a gigantic tidal wave is hitting a street of some sort. People are running over each other, and one of the shots is within the car, and the water hits and it carries people immediately into the water, and it ends like that essentially. The next sequence actually looks like they're back at the airport, and within that sequence the power comes back on again. Taylor Johnson's Ford character is there with the kid, but the way the sequence is set up, the lights slowly start coming on within the rail car terminal, one by one, section by section, and one section that lights up suddenly reveals one of the Muto monsters. And the way he describes the monster is, it looks like a Cloverfield monster in proportions, but much more detailed. So interesting about that part, because again, with the Cloverfield monster, that's the set. We've all seen how the Mutos kind of look like in some sense, and at least based on teases, silhouettes, and stuff like that, it does look like the Cloverfield monster. It makes me wonder if this is it's too much of a coincidence. It has to be on purpose. Makes me wonder if this was deliberate to ensure that it's kind of a wink and a nod to the Cloverfield film, while at the same time stating, that monster, this is Godzilla, and this is why Godzilla wins, because he's going to trounce those things. So sure enough, the Cloverfield monster, once the light hits him, he starts actually tearing up the rail car. Kudos to everybody who has sent me messages in the past, by the way, saying, look at the rail car sequence when it's being torn up. You can briefly see what looks to be one of the Muto monster heads, and I've looked at that sequence and I couldn't really tell if it is or wasn't, and that's why I never really stated that. But good eagle eyes to you all, because sure enough, that's exactly what happened. It's one of the Muto monsters that's destroying the rail car on there. And in this process, the way the sequence goes, the rail car ignites some kind of line of gas or something that leads to the airplanes that are right near the terminal. And when that happens, that's where that sequence occurs that was shown at the Comic-Con, where the planes start exploding one by one in sequence, because we have the gas within those airplanes essentially acting as giant bombs. And then what's really great about this particular part of the reveal is that not only does it show Godzilla's foot once again slamming down. By the way, Quint states that Godzilla's foot is very stumpy. He's got very thick legs, very, very sturdy, lots of power, lots of muscle, in other words. But the camera fully tilts up. In this case, they revealed it within this particular South by Southwest presentation. They revealed Godzilla. They revealed his face up close and personal. Not like the faraway shot that was in the new trailer. The way that he said is the camera tilts up, it reveals the King of Monsters' face, and he looks very agitated. He has a distinctly pissed off, I'm going to start a fight right now, a stare down of some sort. He roars, and then that's it. The whole 7-minute montage ends at that point. So very, very cool stuff. If anybody was there, post your comments below. Share. What did you guys think on that part? Was it everything that you would hope to be? Was it a great surprise? In other words, on there, Quint says that the audience, quote unquote, went bananas with regards to this, and he gives huge kudos to Gareth Edwards. He said that the way the movie feels is they definitely take it serious, but it has a quote unquote Spielbergian way of showing the action. So in other words, it's a way to present something epic while still having the serious tone that the film has on there. So his direct line is, it's populist but incredibly inventive and doesn't treat the audience like dumb kids. So very cool stuff. Very cool stuff. Again, I wish I could have gone to that presentation, but maybe next time on there. But anyways, there's going to be more information on his Q&A too, and I'll post that up soon. So thanks again, everybody. Take care. Bye.